for you.
All right. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are on, which means that it is either the first or the third Thursday at
Too
7
slow.
p.m.
No.
for the Impact Podcast. We have with us tonight, of course, Dr. Obiama is with us as usual. And our special guest tonight is Doula Ivy. So I'm so excited to get ready to speak with her. Damaris will be on shortly. The ladies were just telling me, kind of how their evening has been going. And because we are real people and we have real lives, they were just sharing how they are coming from teaching a CDA class. And then Obiama, I feel like she sprinkled a little bit of I don't want to say jealous juice, but we call it what it is. But she is on her way to see Earth, Wind, and Fire and Santana. So so we were just excited for her that she stayed committed and joined us anyway, even though she is in transit to see Earth, Wind, and Fire and Santana. But we are excited for her, and we're hoping that we could, I don't know, even hear a little bit of the live music at some point.
But you already know if the connection is right. You already know. I'm definitely going to try to bring y'all into the experience. Absolutely.
And we will take it. And we'll take it. Yes, we will. Yes. So, we know that Obiama has to go. Damaris will jump on with us when and if she's able, because she is coming from her first class in her CDA class tonight, and that is huge. So when she comes on, we'll celebrate her as well. But we will get started. We have with us again Doula Ivy tonight, and of course, I'm going to start out by asking. I'll start off first by asking you to share a little bit about yourself before I ask you what a doula is. So, would you like to introduce yourself to our friends?
Hello, friends. Thank you, Aaliyah. Thank you so much for allowing me to share space with you ladies this evening. And who is Ivy? Um, Ivy is a woman of purpose. Ivy is a woman that has discovered what purpose is. Ivy is joy, happiness, peace. And I transition all of those things along with me in my journey. And along on that journey, I am a wife and mother and doula. And I love all of those things.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And I don't know about you guys, but I can see and feel all the things that you've just shared that you are, right? I feel the joy and the happiness, and I'm so excited to have you here. We do have some history. My mom, Miss Linda, cared for your babies, right? I don't even know how many years ago. How many years ago is that?
Your your mother, not only did she care for my baby, she cared important to me. Um, so that alone, it was a time my two older children were in school. I'm still a young mom. I have these two babies with me, and I needed work, and your mom made that happen. And in a world where childcare was difficult for me at the time, and balancing a career was difficult, I told your mom what my dream was, what my vision was, and she said, "We're gonna do it." And she made sure that not only was I able to fulfill, being a mom, but to work and to give back to the community and to, fill the community with purpose. So when I hear Miss Linda, again, joy, peace, everything good. Like that woman gets.
Listen, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We had her on a little while ago, and the impact that she continues to make, and this is what it's all about. I think too oftentimes what is displayed in media, what's displayed, on the news, don't really showcase the good, because the good definitely outweighs the people that take advantage, the people that only care about the money, the people that this, that, and that. But there are many people like Miss Linda that make sure that mothers like you, Ivy, have an opportunity to pursue your dreams. And so that's such a blessing. So thank you for sharing that with us.
And it's going to make this conversation really easy because a philosophy that Miss Linda shared with me is something that I take with me to all of my families. Like, these are my babies while I have them.
Yes.
And a lot of people can't grasp that, but it's something while that baby is with me, that is my baby, and I'm going to, take care of that baby in a way that I would take care of my own, and that's what your mom did. She showed me that to give that type of love to people, it's okay, and it can be received, and it will be received from the right people.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait to let her hear that, and just remind her, because it can get so difficult, every day we live our lives and we take on whatever may come at us every single day. And sometimes, it's really nice for people to get their flowers while they are here, and just to kind of be reminded of the work that they've done, even though it was years or decades ago, right? Like, this was such a long time ago. And
yes, we're talking about two girls that they're 19 and 16 now, so this is long
long time ago, but the impact is still, right. We still feel and see the impact. And honestly, like I've spoken about it before, that's where all of this has been birthed for me. So we're talking about birthing, like that. I remember those type of things that she's done for other mothers, fathers, families, and children. And it's like, there is no way that we cannot continue that legacy. So it was so exciting when I saw you again, right? This was many years after, and it's like, oh my gosh, in the community. So, I remember us talking, and it was like, oh my gosh, we have to be on the podcast. We have to, because even that conversation that we started, I was intrigued, and we started speaking about, the work that doulas do. So let's transition into that. Can you tell us what a doula is and what a doula does?
Doula for me, doula in general, but specifically for me, is a servant. I am a servant. That is what I am here to do. I love it. I find great pride in it. And I am a servant to families. So my job as a doula, I am a full spectrum doula. And what that entails is I deal with families from fertility through postpartum.
Okay.
So whatever that looks like, however they need me, each case is different, each family is different, each scenario is just different, and we need to be able to adapt to that, because it's not the family adapting to my way of child rearing, birthing, my philosophies on medications or non-medications. None of that matters. What matters is, are you okay? Are you okay? Because when you get pregnant and you have these babies and then you have these children, sometimes we sit back and we're like, whoa.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I have grown up people and I'm like, whoa. So,
Each
to
time.
have somebody to be able to serve you at whatever capacity you need them, I just aspire to be for someone else what I once needed and what I need now.
Got you. So it's so interesting, because even when I thought about the pregnancy, the journey, and everything, I don't know for everyone else, but for me, you automatically think about the physical side, right? Your body changes, all of that, but it is so emotional. It is so much deeper than just physical. What would you say mothers seem to need? I know you say each, mother and family. I don't even want to just say only mother, because it is a family journey. But a lot of times, what is it that they need from you as a doula? Because I can only imagine that being pregnant, and I've been pregnant and had 3 children, and each time was different. And I'm thinking back and wondering, did I even know what I needed? So what have you seen that mothers or families have needed, whether they knew or not, that you were able to provide for?
Education. And it's just a continuous cycle. Like, we educate our children. Somewhere down the line, we feel like it's okay to stop for us. And we're not educated. Me too. Me included, because to have 4 births and to not have any births that I can say I had a successful birth story. That's what made education be very important to me. So I see that a lot, and I see a lot of fear, and fear is because we're not educated. So, once we get that out the way, I'm not saying you're not going to have, apprehensions on going into things, and, things, are going to, be lollipops and unicorns, but you're going to have a clear understanding of what you're walking into and what that journey can look like and what you need to do to prepare for that journey. So, once you're properly educated and you can turn that into physical qualities as well, exercising, knowing what types of exercising, knowing what to eat, knowing what to do, knowing how to sleep, knowing, all of these things. It opens up so many doors.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, let's say hello to Damaris. Damaris has joined us. Hello, Damaris. How are you?
I'm
Happy
the
first day of No, we told our friends already, because you are a real person and you're living a real life. Happy first day of
Thank
CDA
you.
class.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really excited. Yeah, it took a little longer, but yeah, we made it happen. I forgot pictures. So I was just so upset. But we went through all these technology glitches, but we made it. We made it. We're here. Yes. And I'm so excited to meet Doula Ivy. I just want to be quiet. I want to hear everything. I just want to soak up everything you got to say.
I'm excited. I was excited to meet you, both of you ladies. Hi.
Yeah, so we started talking about kind of the journey and what a doula does, and Ivy was just sharing the importance of education, and that's so interesting as well, because like I mentioned, I have 3 children, and each time I was able to learn more and more. Right, like I nursed or breastfed my youngest 2 because I knew better. Right, the more the more you can do better. And like you said, a lot of it is education. Of course, initially it was like, I don't even know if I can breastfeed. What does that entail? I think I did in the hospital maybe for a couple of days, and then was like, that's enough. That was it, because it seemed too difficult and there wasn't enough milk. But I went through early childhood education, so I kind of learned the benefits of what that was. What are some things that you would say, in the journey again, that maybe are misconceptions, or what we sometimes think we can't do, we actually can? What are some of those things you find that we typically just don't understand, or, whether it's a lack of knowledge or just, miseducated?
First, I want to go back and visit Aaliyah and say, Aaliyah, be gentle with yourself, because it's not even about knowing better. It's you know differently, so you made different decisions.
Absolutely.
And that alone is major.
I'm learning to be gentle with myself day by day.
Be gentle. So congratulate yourself. You did something major. Okay.
For 3 years, I remind them. I'll be like, I nursed you until you were 3. So
yeah, that's major. That is major. And breastfeeding is not always an easy journey.
Listen, I don't know how you did it past 1. I birthed 4, Ivy, and I breastfed all of mine, but that last one, that's 10 years old, girl, he bit me, And this where the education comes in at, because at 6 months he bit me and it was cold. It was like no transition, no nothing. You will not suck on me, not another day. My nipple felt like it was going to come off. It was red and raw. And I was up in the middle of the night Googling what to do. And I figured it out and got the right cream and salve to nurse it. But for years, I still had pain. Like, I don't let nobody touch my breast because I got flashbacks. The trauma is real.
Yeah.
So, education is important, because the other thing is, if you don't properly take care of yourself when you're breastfeeding, especially if the baby bites you, it can turn into cancer, because your ducts, don't heal, don't close, and the whole reproduct. Like, education is really important. So I don't be playing around. I be telling people, like, you got to make sure you really take care of yourself.
And although you made that very interesting and very hard not to chuckle at, seriously, there's it can cause a trauma, and that can lead over to different areas of your life, that can lead over into your sexuality,
Oh,
and
girl, yes,
that,
absolutely.
so
Yes.
it's major. This thing is major, so to know, kind of, like, even to understand what's going on with your breast, what's going on with baby, why is baby biting, how can we get baby to stop biting, how can we make this journey successful, those are other things that, even if your doula can't provide that information, we kind of see things, and then our job is to refer it out. you know Now we need a lactation person. Now we need, these are things beyond us, but it's important that we all understand what our hats are in this world too.
Listen, I I
Yes.
I actually didn't know what a doula was until after very late, in my age now, which I'm not going to share with you guys. And I feel like trauma.
26.
Yes, 26,
I was,
and my
I was
oldest
gonna
is
say
28. So let's figure that one out. But I have four daughters. I didn't breastfeed, and I was kind of like shamed by many folks that was around me because I had to breastfeed. That was just the thing, and I was like, and I'm not. And I feel now that I'm older, I'm able to identify why. I was never a very passionate person, like that never cuddled. I never, you know, I wasn't affectionate. That's the word I wanted to use, affectionate person. And that's because of the way I was brought up, right? So, when you don't have that affection, you don't want to latch, you don't want to give that back. And, now that I'm older, and I have grandchildren, I tell my daughters, break the cycle, right? So I try to hold myself accountable to be affectionate now. I'm always affectionate with them. Of course, they're my daughters and I love them, but I try to do more hugs. I try to do more things intentionally to force myself to do that, and that's something that I wasn't able to do with them as little babies, which I wish I did. I wish I knew what a doula was. I wish I had the opportunity to even have a doula. That's not something that was very well seen back in my days. In the land community, I'm not really sure in numerous communities, but it was just really hard. And when you go through those traumas where you're brought up where you don't have that affection, it's really hard for you to break that cycle, right? And then say, oh, I'm going to breastfeed. Here goes that one-on-one. I was kind of afraid to have that one-on-one, right? Like
Right.
it wasn't meant for me. I don't even know how to put it in words, but that is something that I worked um, I worked through by myself, right? And understanding I got to do better as a mom, and I didn't fail. I'm still here with them. I didn't breastfeed you guys, but you're still alive. But this is how I'm going to make up for that, right? Similac with whatever that was, whatever they had. And then back in the days, we even gave them sugar water, when my kids were a little smaller, right? So, my poor children, my grandchildren, of course, now I'm like, you need to breastfeed. And this is why, because now I'm like an expert, right? Because we
Okay.
have more information, we have more resources to be able to do that, but again, I feel as though I missed that opportunity because of that mental health component, because I didn't have that affection, and I wish that I had those resources that are available now. And I'm going to tell you, shout out to our Maternity Care Collision, because I follow them. And that is one beast of a one of an organization that really understands the importance of doulas and giving that education out also. So I really, really admire their work because of that.
Love that.
That was deep. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come in.
No, that was a
No.
great
I hear
point.
I'm late. Here it goes.
No, and that's really the purpose of this conversation too. Is even the fact that that Ivy pointed out, be kind to yourself. It made me just think about so many emotions and times that I had difficulty, whether it was during the pregnancy period, right after I had my babies, and even a couple years later, which is definitely a question I wanted to ask you about, because postpartum depression is real. And that was something I definitely wanted to, kind of talk with you about, is how do what have you seen women go through?
Hold on, these tickets.
Sometimes that women don't even know that they have it. I was speaking to a friend not too long ago, and a couple of weeks ago, and she mentioned, believing that she possibly had postpartum depression. And we're not talking like the baby isn't an infant. So I believe that even that probably have some inaccuracies to it in regards to, what's the time frame that you would have postpartum depression? What does it look like? What kind of supports are out there? Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen and what kind of supports are available? What could we do? I don't even know if it's a prevention, but, what are some things that we can do to just kind of, recognize when we need additional supports?
Yes. Now, what I do want to point out is, as a doula, that our job is to refer that out. Okay, that you need to seek assistance from your medical provider.
Okay.
So we do. That is what we do. Now, as a human being, and seeing things, then we do see what roads birthing people are going on. We do see lack of skin to skin. We do see lack of affection. We do see lack of will to want to do daily tasks. Feeling inadequate and emotional imbalance. But a lot of things can even go undetected and unseen, as far as even when nobody's looking to check and make sure mom's eating. Are you showering? Are you, a lot of these things, can be put on a level of, well, I just didn't have time. But then when we really sit down and we begin to unpack what that looks like, and we often have to make time for ourselves and make time for these things. So, how does that happen? How do we do that? And that's one of the major problems that I see in the minority communities, is that the resources of a postpartum doula is almost slim to none. The availability for us to come out and be able to provide services so moms can, have that hour to take a shower, to have that, 20 minutes to, just sit in the bathroom alone.
Oh my gosh.
What is that?
I need that now. My youngest is 7. I'll be like,
Me too.
A kid, it's a dog.
It's somebody, right? Can we just get? I'll be like, can I get an hour locking doors? Like, can you please stop coming in the bathroom? I'm in the bathroom. Like, can I please?
Yes. But see, this is a cycle. And when you identify how this cycle looks, you have birthing person come home, partner needs to go back to work immediately, whether it's that day or, if they have the luxury of having 6 to 8 weeks off with their partner. And then everything is on, mom. Okay. For the most part, when you look at the average minority household, that's what it's coming down to. We have friends and family that may pop in. But when friends and family pop in, as much as we promote and put out, publicize that you need to be a help, to wash dishes, to do something that is an asset. What people come to do is they come and hold baby, and thank you for that. But when you come hold baby, mom is watching. So now, thanks, you're giving mom a little anxiety, a lot of the time. And this is completely coming from a loving space and no disrespect. But that's even for grandmoms too, because you have your way of how you used to do things. And, the baby crying, let's put a little Karo syrup in that bottle and, fill that baby up and gone about your business. And so now you're overlooking, making sure mom doesn't put some of those old school beliefs onto your baby. And now you've gotten absolutely nothing done, and now you're even more tired from the so-called help that just came to pay you a visit. So then nobody has still ever even looked at mom. We're 6 to 8 weeks out before you even get your first visit. Okay, that's 6 to 8 weeks, way too long. And again, 98% of the time we're left alone.
Yeah.
So my whole mission is to show that this is done every day in other communities. Help is taken every day. Overnight, what is known as an overnight postpartum doula. We come in so parents can sleep. If you're nursing, I go in and I'll take baby. I take baby all night. When it's time for baby to feed, I bring baby to you. We nurse. I take baby away and birth. You go back to sleep. You have a night or multiple nights, and I've seen it as much as 5 to 6 nights a week. Now, why isn't this common amongst everyone? But then
Wow.
our mental health, and then we're automatically trained and driven that we don't go to therapy. So it's a cycle. So
Yeah.
where does it stop? Well, it stops before it starts. And it starts when you can attack mom and get some education, and we can educate, and then we can look at 2, 3 generations down the line, because it's not stopping right here.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not gonna see it. But what I'm hoping is that my great grandchildren, it's normal
Yeah.
for them to have help. It's not even a question. It's qualified help. It's what is needed, and you can go on and understand what it is to live as a person, because that's why I identified myself in the beginning as who Ivy is, before I said I'm a wife, a mother, and doula,
You're right.
because there was a time I had lost sight of that.
Mm.
But she is always going to and has to be first.
That's the you did preface it by saying who Ivy is, and a lot of times we do lead by I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a all things, except for who we truly are, who we seek to be. We put in ourselves first, and because it seems like that becomes selfish instead of focusing on with like selfless. That and then there's
We
guilt associated
we
with it.
live in a society that it's 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 very hard. I mean, it's the hardest thing for women ever, right? Especially if you're trying to, what kind of balance, right? There is no balance, right? So if
No.
you want to go into business, you want to be a mom, if you're a successful business person, then you're shamed because you're leaving your family behind, right? So we're women that actually always have sacrifices. We always have to sacrifice, even myself, with so many hours in a day with working and getting things done and sitting here, sometimes I feel shamed, right? Because I'm like, oh, I didn't really, like, talk to those kids, or read a book, the way, how can I preach? I gotta walk the talk, and having those intentional moments. Even my husband, he just mopes around and look, you need attention, okay, so I check myself, right? But I think that there's a lot more pressure for us and women going back. You're right, some places don't have paternity. So they left all on their own, right? They have to do it on themselves. So, we live in a society that really doesn't respect that. I
Yeah.
mean, look, obviously, Roe versus Wade, right? So, this is what we're living with. So, I don't know how people can do that, but I do remember as you were talking, um, my grandma, when I had my child, my first child, I was a wreck. You described me, right? I had all these excuses, even showering and the hygiene and getting up to do the house because he was expected to do that. In my household, you expected just to bounce back up and just move around. And I remember her telling me once, "Hey, you better get pretty because your husband will leave you." Make sure that your husband don't see you looking like a wreck, because your husband will leave you. Back in days, that's how they were taught, right? You needed to, I guess, spread a baby out and put makeup on right after. There was no time for that healing. So I just remember saying that it's just kind of crazy that we still live in a society that still does that. You know.
And like you're saying, the pressure that's put on us. I have stories of my grandmother giving birth and going back to work that day.
Mm.
Okay. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. And growing up, those stories were placed on us of showing like her strength,
Right.
and showing how strong she was and the foundation that we were built on. And I am not at all discrediting any of that, because that is wholeheartedly what made me the woman that I am. However, with education and with listening to the ancestors, my ancestors told me to rest.
Yeah.
We are we were not supposed to be about that life, and just because you can does not mean you should.
Yeah.
So the importance of rest on the body, I mean, and look at all we're saying. It's a stress. It's an unspoken stress that's placed on us, because you're supposed to come home, keep the house together, keep the family together, raise the children, be beautiful, plan the events, be present everywhere, be active in every social club, and still find you. And what I mean, and the sad part about it is a lot of us don't even get to discover who we really are until our children are grown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 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 now you're raising people based on beliefs that you were raised on, all while you're trying to unlearn that and discover who you are. And as soon as you discover who you are, you sent these people out here, and you're like, wait a minute, let me revisit all of this. And now you've got to reintroduce yourself and justify why you did, said, acted, because you're now in a position to take that time to discover who you are, because you don't have people.
Right. So
So it's a
self-care is not
cycle.
selfish. Hmm. Self-care is not selfish, and I think that we just culturally and also as a society just really need to do better. And just everything that you said and everything like the parents you said, and just the history of women carrying babies and what our roles were and how we were told, and and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like it's this expectation that we're supposed to just produce and pop out these babies and go, 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 go. And then when we start snapping and spazzing out, then there's a whole nother narrative. But what I love about this conversation is that for those of us who are in childcare, it helps us to be that much more sensitive and compassionate to these moms and also to these kids, because the parents, like you said, if you didn't grow up with that affection, that's why some of these children are so irritable, right, and slow to warm, and we're seeing the behaviors in the classroom because they don't have a secure attachment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. You're totally right.
Yeah, so it's all connected. It's all connected. So this
Absolutely.
conversation is so needed.
Absolutely.
I know there was so it was even guilt. Well, that was more so with Isis, who's the oldest. Just when you have to go back to work, right? So I know we accept children as early as 6 weeks. right? So if you have a child that you've had, in your child care program since 6 weeks, and typically they're in our care 10 to 12 hours per day, right? It's so much pressure. You spoke about really this level of empathy and just how we are connecting with families, which is why, again, I thought it was important for Ivy to come on as well. And I would love to share this even with our families. And mothers and fathers, families, just to be able to kind of, for all of us as a community, to be able to partner together and also recognize when someone else is in need, including us in our child care programs when we're receiving these children. And like you said, Obiama, sometimes we're starting to see different behaviors in children that is definitely reflective of exactly what we're talking about. We have mothers, fathers, families, grandmothers working. So children are in our care so many hours. There's different transitions, a number of children in the household, right? There's so many needs that need to be met that sometimes are unable to be met. And I know even like I have a husband and a whole support system, and it's still difficult. We still need that support. So us just being a community and having these conversations and being able to be vulnerable and be kinder to ourselves and not beat ourselves up. I even have difficult moments now where it's like, okay, let me slow down. Right. I'm trying to be productive over here, but I really have to tend to, my children and my family and my kid. We were getting out the car last night, and the little one, she was like, mommy, you have a meeting? You have a meeting coming up? I'm like, it's 7:30 at night. I know, but you be having meetings. It's like, okay. Even in that, it was funny, but it was shame as well. Like, oh my gosh, do I always say that? And it's like, and then the thought process is, guys, but I'm really hustling so that at some point I can stop all this busy work and we can go do all the other stuff. It's always trying to get to this place where, it's this rush, and I don't want to feel the shame because I actually love what I do. So when I'm doing it,
lying to them
all day.
I really did, because I was lying to I call it lying, because I used to tell them that too, right? Guys, I'm trying to do this so that way, I have my exit strategy, right? This is my exit strategy, guys. Don't worry about it. 2 more years. You know what? No, it's not. I'm in a time of my life that I know who I am and I know what I want. And what I want to do is exactly what I'm doing now. And maybe, yes, I'm going to back up a little bit, and back, kind of like stop working 20 hours a day if that's what I need to do. But I'm not going to stop working, and I'm still going to continue doing what makes me happy. And obviously, my children are something that, obviously something that makes me happy. I love them, and I'm going to spend time with them, but I'm also going to do me, right? Because at the end of the day, you little girls go off and get married, or go off and make your own life, whatever it is, whatever life has in hold for you, you're not even going to look back twice, right? And then I'm going to be here trying to still figure out who I am, right? And it's not going to happen today. COVID didn't teach us that life is short, right? That's one thing the pandemic taught me. Life is short, right? So start moving, and don't stop moving. So I don't feel guilty anymore. I don't lie anymore. I'm busy because you like those clothes you wear, right? You know what I mean? Do you like vacations, right? That comes with money. So you're going to get your time. If you outside, right? Because I know my priorities too, but right now I can't. So it is what it is. So if you don't wait, what it is. But talking about childcare, and when women come in, or families, let me just say families in general, to bring in their children in such a young age, it is heartbreaking. And if you have families watching, let me tell you, we grieve with you. We cry with you. I know I do. I try to provide them with transition weeks that they can come in, meet the teachers, spend a little time, and then come back and forth, trying to, edge on that transition. Because I know it's the roughest, it is the hardest thing ever. It is the hardest thing ever to let go of your baby for 10 hours a day to complete strangers when they can't talk or anything like that, when that's supposed to be your time. So there's things that I tell my staff, like if a baby starts cooing or they start walking or talking or crawling, they're not allowed to tell the parents. I'm like,
Well,
absolutely not. You will not share that with the parents. You're going to let that parent figure it out, and they're going to come to you and they're going to celebrate that with you. And you're going to celebrate that they saw it first.
you're absolutely right.
Because we're not going to shame families, and that's how they're going to feel. You know how heartbroken I would be if I knew that my kid started walking and I missed it because I'm working.
Yep. That happened to me. It happened to me. And I was like, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of doing that.
Mm.
I'm guilty of doing that. And it's solely because I definitely want those parents to experience it. That is not my journey, you know. Like I've had mine, and I need for you to have your excitement. I never want to come and let a parent feel like I know more about their baby than they do.
Yeah.
You know, never.
It's really important to give them.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they do come in and celebrate, they're like, "Oh my gosh, little Johnny started walking." We're like, "Really?" We make a big fuss. And then when they leave, we're like, "We already knew he's been walking for 3 months now." But but
It's
we
beautiful to let them have that.
yeah, celebrate it. This is your moment, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna celebrate it with you. So
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was beautiful. That was a really good point. Because I really do remember not being there for one of them walking, and it was like, oh my gosh, yet another moment of guilt, yet another, and all that we do, and it's interesting too because so many times we beat ourselves up for the things that we may have missed or not have done, and not all of the great things that we've done or all the moments we've been there for. I'm definitely going to share that with my staff, Damaris. That was good. That was really good.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just don't forget anything. I attend every child's, and my kids are busy. I mean, anywhere from softball to dance to competition to this to that. I've never missed not one thing. I'm in every single thing. I hold myself accountable to doing that, right? To making sure I don't miss. I missed one, one because I was stuck in traffic, and they will not let that down.
Uh-huh.
It's like I traumatized them for life. Like I'm the worst mother ever because I missed one event out of 28 years of you doing 20,000 things and costing me $20,000 in special activities. You know what I mean? I missed one event, and I didn't even miss that. Just went late, and they would not let that down.
Mhm.
So that's also something that that it's really traumatizing, right? When you can't because you're working long hours.
Yeah.
You can't go to events, and you can't even provide them those opportunities, children those opportunities, because you work long hours and you're exhausted. You don't want to get up and go to soccer afterwards, or to something else because you're just exhausted. You got to get home, you got to cook, you got to do this. Especially single parents, right?
Yeah.
Talking about those single parents that are really, really struggling out there, handling it on their own. Shout out to them because I don't know what I would do without my husband. Honestly, I really don't.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be where I'm at without him. And I have to acknowledge that, right? You have to, I'm happy and very proud and very, very lucky to have that support system.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I loved the other night we went out for our anniversary. We were at dinner and at the jazz club, and the young girl, 24-year-old singer, and she actually took a moment and was like, I know I'm really young, but she said, I want to shout out you guys, the adults. And I just want to say, thank you because you guys make it easy. And I just want to celebrate you. And I was like, oh my God, like I don't even know her. I don't even know her, but I was like, thank you, because we a lot of times don't get, a thank you, or the fact that she said, you guys make it easy. I'm just 24, and it is a struggle. It's a struggle, even being young. And it was like, listen, I clapped too, like, thank you. So come on. And I know my young girls, they're in their early 20s, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of lifing. And I'm like, welcome.
You just began.
It just started. Welcome. But it's a joy. It's a joy to watch. It's a joy to watch, and this motherhood thing is beautiful. Something I saw, I wanted to share. Something I saw early, and I was like, "Oh, this is good." And it showed a picture, and it said, you know, what we think we need is balance, right? And you're kind of standing there trying to balance on like a tightrope. But what we actually need is imperfect balance, which is like walking forward, like moving forward. And it's not a matter of balancing, standing still in the, you know, in that moment, but it's about moving forward. And it's this imperfect balance that makes everything right. And I was like, again, thank you, right? Finding those moments where it's like, you hear me, right? Thank you for that message. I just wanted to share that with you guys as well.
And Aaliyah, once we understand what balance really is, you know, and that it's not universal, and that your balance is not my balance, and it's okay for mine to look the way I need for it to look, and it is not up for debate. You know, when we can take all that off the table and just live freely,
Yeah.
then that is a plateau that there is nothing I would sacrifice to go back to where I was. Nothing.
That's good.
Once you've seen, you can't unsee.
Yes. I want to, it's crazy because I definitely wanted to ask you about self-care, but this one is a little heavier, but I don't want us to end without me asking you about it. We've been hearing so many stories of Black women and dying during childbirth, and the mortality rate during childbirth. And we've been speaking about this strength, right? And supposedly, you know, Black women are so strong they can take it, or whatever that is. What have you seen or understood about that increased mortality rate with Black women during childbirth? What is that, and what is happening, and how can we prevent that, if at all?
I've seen that it's a fact. I've seen that people don't get taken seriously. I've seen that even when there are times where you can come in with a doula, and I've overheard conversations, and this is not at all hospitals, this is not at every birth center, but I can say I have firsthand seen the discrimination that is out there. And so when I go into these hospitals, yes, you can call me a pit bull when I get in there, because I do not come to play. I am not playing with another woman's life, you know, and that is not a joke. At the end of the day, I don't care who likes me, who doesn't like me. You are going to hear her. You are going to hear her. And even after we leave, when we come back, yeah, I'm going to bring you some pretzels and, some hot chocolate and tea and stuff, and give it to the nurses station, because I want y'all to have me back. I'm very hospitable. But if she needs to come back, you're going to hear that too. You know, and that's part of the problem. And then women being made to feel as though their situation isn't important, or that something is normal. We all know what is normal for our body, and then we all also know that this is something that is off. This is something that I am not familiar with. This is something that is beyond my scope of practice, and I'm not enjoying it on my human experience, and I need help. And that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be taken seriously. And and that's the main problem with women hemorrhaging, with women, just all types of things that are happening in these birthing facilities. And not only the birthing facilities, but all the things that are happening into that 6 to 8 week period before the birthing person is seen by a physician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
How about
everybody's out here flying blind, and everybody just wants to put the blame on a different tier and a different level. Stop it. That care, that postpartum care, is detrimental. That just maternity care, period. Self-care. But it spirals back into that same cycle.
how about the insurance access?
Mm-hmm.
So how does this look like? Are doulas? I guess does everybody get access to a doula, or they're like, if they don't have insurance, how does that look like, and how they support it to receive a doula?
Now, I am so glad you asked me that, because I am willing to put all my stuff on the line, and they can shut me down before it starts up. Yes, yes, and there's a way to do it.
Okay.
There's a front door, back door, side door way to do it, and
Awesome.
especially for postpartum care. And there are numerous ways to do it. And if we have the back door, come on.
Got it.
But yes. Now, is it difficult? Yes. Is it extremely difficult? Yes. To the point where a lot of people feel defeated and they give up and they just say, you know what, forget it. I don't want to go through the struggle, or I don't want to be on the phone an hour, or all the adversities that one could face.
Right.
So in this stage of it, it's needed. In corporate America, I was once taught that you have to look at financial decisions for your properties and think, is it nice or is it necessary? And that's how they're looking at us right now. Is it nice or is it necessary? And we have to show them that it is necessary.
So is one is more likely to receive funding for a doula if it appears to be necessary? Is that what okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that can look like a lot of things. That can look like one can be mental health. When you go back and you are suffering from postpartum depression, or anything else that you could be suffering from, and you talk to your physician, and you may have to speak up and say to them that I believe I could benefit from a postpartum doula. Nice. And you have to know what you need for that to look like in your life. It could simply be somebody coming in, helping with baby, or it could be somebody sitting answering questions, or it could be somebody sharing space, or it could be somebody doing the most, or what may look like nothing.
I didn't even know there was a such thing as postpartum doula. I literally thought it was mainly for childbirth. So that's really good to know. And that after birth support, like you said, is huge.
And I just want us to visit the fact that a doula isn't just for the birthing person. We're support for the dynamics of that situation. Okay. However your situation looks, we're support for that. So if there's dad and dad has questions, I have ascertained more clients based on dads seeking me out.
Wow.
Dad's doing the research, and dad's setting the appointment.
I love
dad's
that.
having the questions. And a lot of times they have their spouse or partner ask the questions until they're comfortable enough, so that they have to know in the beginning, I am here for you, Dad, because you're the asset in the birth room, not me. I'm supposed to be a teacher. I need to teach you, and then when you're ready to tap out, I'm here.
Right.
But that's a whole nother conversation to say, even the roles dads play when they first get home, and how postpartum looks, because what role did you give dad to play in the birthing room? What was he included in that? Was he included in skin to skin? Does he feel ready to have this baby? Has dad taken any classes? Has anybody stopped and talked to him?
Right.
Outside of him knowing that he needs to provide, in our westernized way of thinking, financially.
It's good.
How has anybody had a conversation with Bull?
Yeah.
And that's as real as I can get.
Yeah.
And so when we address that, and we see and we put dad in place, and dad has value, then the whole experience from the beginning looks different. When dad is involved in nursing and breastfeeding, and know what that looks like, and can help, because he's a key player in that too. When it starts out like that, Or if God forbid we bypass that and dad's home, has anybody checked in on his mental health? Because now he's not only looking at a baby that he can't get to stop crying, but a woman that he can't get to stop crying too.
Yeah.
So listen, like we on and on and on. You know, I have so many like ideas. I think that, you know, this conversation touched on so many things that we were not exposed to. We didn't even know exist. I think that this is a great resource for you other programs to even just have her come in to educate not only parents, but the teachers too. I think that this will be a really great resource to help teachers, you know, dealing with children that are hard to calm or struggle. Like, this is so full circle. This is so full circle. So we definitely need to get more resources and talk to you more offline. Like, this could be a whole day of this, what resources look like while, after, you know, the aftercare, all that kind of stuff. So we are running out of time.
Yes,
We are running out of time, and so we want to kind of bring it to a close. This conversation has been so rich. Thank you so much, Doula Ivy. This conversation has been so good.
Thank
And
you,
to those
Doula.
that are listening and to those that are going to watch the replay, I hope that it stirs something on the inside of you to make you advocate for yourself or advocate for your sister or your girlfriend that you see might need some help. And because we don't know what we don't know, right? You just opened up for so much, like just so much more conversation and dialogue. I mean, how can the audience get in contact with you?
My organization is is4service.com. You can find me there. My website.
No, I think we lost her.
oh, oh no. I know I got IS for service.
No, I was like really listening
Did
to
I
that.
drop out?
Say it one
You did, Ivy. If you can repeat that, Ivy, can you hear us?
Oh,
Oh, she looked like she's frozen again. All right, so you guys just reach out to Aaliyah, put the comments in the chat, and if you want to get in contact with Doula Ivy, we will make sure that you are able to do that.
Yes, I put that in there. I'll definitely follow up with her information, as well as I'm gonna also post a community day that IS4 Services Ivy is actually hosting. It will be at Bustleton Learning Center. It literally will have a community baby shower. So there will be
Oh, that's
resources.
awesome.
Let's do
Free
it.
resources coming up August 27th. So I'm going to share that as well to make sure that you guys can get even more resources. And we will definitely be following up with Doula Ivy for her insight and knowledge and resources for all of us to be able to benefit from. So Ivy, thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. I know I learned a lot. We learned a lot. We love
Yes, we
having
did.
you. And listen, you know, we're the impact. So this does not mean that this will be the last time we are here. And as much as the people need you, we will be back. So thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us as well. We are going to let Dr. Obiama go back to her amazing concert. When and
Thank
we'll let
you.
you all go. Thank you, Damaris. Thank you, Ivy.
Okay.
You guys
Thank